The sharp crack of thunder rolling across the plains jolted John Parker for his Texas porch as dark clouds gathered over his 200-acre ranch. A deafening rumble that shook the weathered boards beneath his boots, his rifle leaping to his hands as the coffee mug slipped from his grip. Shattering on the porch with a crash that was swallowed by the howling wind, the shards skittering across the wood like scattered bones in the dim light of a stormy afternoon. He stood tall, his heart pounding like a war drum in his chest, the burn scar on his forearm throbbing with a dull ache as he squinted toward the western horizon. The lake's silver surface shimmering faintly beyond the plains, its calm disrupted by the ripples of an approaching tempest. The distant lowing of cattle, now drowned by the roar of the storm and the faint shouts of rough voices carried on the gusts. After yesterday's dawn victory over Caleb Harrow, where John's sharpshooting had broken the chains of the past, had hoped for a day to mend the ranch's wounds and Ethan's resolve, but now the air thrummed with danger, the storm a cloak for a new threat, and had faced it with the steel of his 54 years. He stormed across the yard to the barn, saddling Dusty with hands steady from decades of grit. The chestnut mare snorting nervously as he swung into the saddle, her ears twitching at the crackling lightning, and he rode hard toward the western pasture, rifle raised high. The wildflowers along the plains bending under the wind, their vibrant colors muted by the darkening sky, his mind racing as he braced to confront the storm and the shadows it hid. The air was heavy with the scent of rain and ozone as he spurred Dusty across the open ground. The western sky, a roiling mass of black clouds streaked with lightning. The lake's edge, a distant shimmer reflecting the storm's fury, its surface churning with whitecaps as the wind whipped across the plains, the first drops of rain pelting John's Stetson, cold and sharp against his skin. He crested a low rise near the western pasture, reining in with a thud that sank his boots into the muddy earth, his eyes narrowing as the scene unfolded like a battle forged in the tempest. 8 mercenaries in dark gear, their faces shadowed by hoods, moved through the storm, their rifles and machetes glinting in the lightning flashes, driving 30 head of cattle toward the barn, their shouts a harsh chorus over the thunder. Their intent clear: set the barn ablaze and scatter the herd, a crippling blow to the ranch's heart. Beyond them, a 9th figure stood on a rise overlooking the pasture, a familiar silhouette in a pristine suit, silver hair whipping in the wind. Victor Lang, Grayson's lawyer, a radio in hand as he barked orders. His voice a cold hiss carried by the gale. Rain lashed the plains, the cattle lowing in distress, and John's blood ran cold, suspicion hardening into fury. His finger tightening on the trigger as he chambered around, the click swallowed by the storm's roar, his breath steady despite the rage boiling in his veins, the tempest a battlefield for survival. He spurred Dusty forward, rifle raised, the rain soaking his denim and coating his Stetson as he charged down the slope, the wildflowers flattening under the Mara's hooves, their petals swirling in the wind, the old war wound flaring with a sharp pang that shot through his leg with each jarring stride, the lightning illuminating the chaos in stark flashes. The thunder a drumbeat to the battle ahead. The mercenaries spotted him, their rifles swinging up, and Lang raised a hand, his suit drenched but his smirk glinting in the stormlight as he shouted, "There he is, burn it all, boys." 2 mercenaries broke off, their horses rearing, rifles booming as they fired, the bullets tearing through the rain, but John leaned low in the saddle. Dusty galloping full tilt, and raised his rifle with one hand, his sharpshooter's eye locking on the first mercenary, a wiry thug with a hood, his rifle mid-shot. John fired, the crack splitting the storm, the bullet tearing through the rifle's barrel, the weapon exploding in the man's hands, the mercenary screaming as his horse bolted, rain and mud exploding around him as he fell, clutching his burned hands, his fight shattered in the tempest. The second mercenary, a stocky brute, charged machete raised, slashing through the rain. But John shifted Dusty sharp, the mare pivoting with precision, and fired again, the shot ringing true, the bullet grazing the man's arm, sending the machete flying into the mud. The brute howling as he clutched his bloodied limb, his horse veering off in a blind panic, the storm swallowing his curses. "Long!" John roared, voice steel over the thunder. Dusty charging through the rain as he swung the rifle toward the leader, who raised his radio, barking orders, the cattle surging toward the barn, their hooves churning the earth into a quagmire. The lightning flashing overhead, illuminating the chaos in stark relief. Lang shouted, "Light it up! Finish him!" But John urged Dusty faster, weaving through the stampeding herd. His sharpshooters I locked on a mercenary, tossing a Molotov cocktail toward the barn, the flame arcing through the rain. John fired, a single shot, perfect and true. The bullet shattering the bottle midair, the explosion raining fire harmlessly into the mud. The mercenary staggering back with a curse, his hood slipping to reveal wide, panicked eyes. The barn still standing, it was slick with rain, but unburned. The mercenaries rallied, their rifles cracking, bullets tearing through the storm, but John rode through, rifle raised. Towering over the chaos, the lake glowing silver beyond the rain as the lightning flashed, the wildflowers drenched and trembling, their petals clinging to life in the tempest. "You're done," he bellowed, aiming at Lang, who drew a pistol, its barrel glinting as he fired, the bullet whizzing past John's ear, the thunder drowning the shot as John fired back, the bullet grazing Lang's hand, sending the pistol flying into the mud, the lawyer staggering back, his suit torn, his smirk gone, fear flashing in his eyes as he turned to flee, disappearing into the storm. His footsteps swallowed by the gale. The remaining mercenaries hesitated, their rifles wavering, and John advanced, rain streaming down his face, the plains pulsing beneath his boots. The cattle scattering as the fight turned. "Who's pulling his strings?" John growled, kicking a fallen machete aside, pressing the barrel to a mercenary's chest, the man's hood soaked, his voice trembling as he gasped. "Grayson, jail king." Langs his fist, storms the cover. "Want you broken, barn and all." His eyes darted to the ridge, fear flickering, and John's rage flared. The storm a bitter testament as he hauled the mercenary up, slamming him against a post, the metal creaking, mud swirling as the man slumped, defiance fading into pain. Headlights flared through the rain, Frank's truck roaring across the pasture with a growl, mud spraying, Mary Ellen's mare beside it, shotgun gripped tight, Jake and Ethan piling out, Tom with rope, Sarah and Matt trailing, faces fierce in the stormlight, the plains stretching wide and drenched, the wildflowers battered but enduring. "What's this?" Frank barked, pistol gleaming, eyeing the scattered cattle, the sprawled mercenaries, his gray hair plastered to his head as he stepped forward, his soldiers' calm steady despite the tempest. The lake shimmering silver in the distance, its surface churning with the storm's fury. John spat mud, voice rough, shoving the mercenary forward, his arm still bleeding. The pain a dull throb beneath his fury. Lang's storm, Grayson's hit, tried to burn the barn, scatter the herd. We held. He gestured to the barn. It was slick but standing, the cattle lowing softly as they calmed, the plains pulsing with the weight of survival, the storm a battlefield they'd conquered. Mary Ellen swung down, boots sinking into the mud, her braids swinging, her voice steady as she leveled her shotgun, her eyes sharp with the fire of a widow who'd seen too much. "Held it good. Your aim's a wall, John." "Storm didn't break us." Ethan charged, grabbing a mercenary, wrenching him up, voice raw with the fire of a son defending his home. "You hit our barn?" John gripped his shoulder, steadying him, rifle close. The lake shimmering below, its surface a mirror of the storm's wrath. "Enough. They're done," John said, tone steel over the wind, his eyes meeting Ethan's, the boy's face set with determination. Trust forged in the fire of battle. Ethan, round the herd. "Jake, Tom time. Hargrove's next." Jake tossed rope to Ethan, who nodded, hand steady as he whistled Dusty over. Mounting to corral the cattle, trust forging in each loop he threw, Tom binding the mercenaries as Frank kicked a rifle clear, Mary Ellen covering with her shotgun, her braids swinging, her eyes sharp, Sarah calling Hargrove, Matt tracing the mercenaries' gear, the plains stretching wide and drenched, the wildflowers enduring despite the storm. The rain slowed, the clouds parting, wildflowers emerging from the mud, their petals trembling in the fading light. When Hargrove's patrol car screeched in, lights cutting the dusk, deputies spilling out, their boots splashing in the puddles as they cuffed the mercenaries, their gear bagged, the storm's fury a fading echo in the sky. "What's the play, John?" Hargrove asked, badge glinting, the breeze tugging his hat as he surveyed the scene, the muddy posts and bloodied grass a testament to the battle, the lake glowing silver in the distance, its calm returning as the storm passed. John stood tall, rifle slung, voice steady, mud drying on his face, his Stetson dripping. Lang's tempest, Grayson's hit, barn and herd in the crosshairs. "We held." "Lang's loose." Hargrove nodded, his jaw tight, his eyes scanning the ridge where Lang had fled, a grim determination in his gaze. "They're booked. Assault, arson attempt, conspiracy. Lang's a ghost. We'll hunt him. Stay sharp. John, more's coming." He signaled his deputies, who hauled the mercenaries into the patrol car, their groans muffled as the doors slammed shut, the vehicle lurching back through the plains, its red taillights fading into the dusk, the sun setting low, casting long shadows across the battleground. Night fell over the ranch, the sky a deep violet streaked with gold. The lake calm in the distance, its surface smooth as glass, reflecting the first stars as they emerged. The crew gathered in the house, coffee steaming in mugs, the air thick with the scent of roasted beans and the faint tang of rain that clung to their clothes. Ethan slouched in a chair, his face steady, trust forged in the storm's fire. The map spread wide across the table, the ridge marked in red ink, a testament to the day's battle, the lantern light casting long shadows over their weary faces. The lake glowing silver outside as the last rays of dusk faded, the plains stretching wide and unbroken, wildflowers battered but enduring, their roots deep in the Texas soil. Storms passed, Frank said, leaning back, his pistol gleaming on his hip, his voice gravelly but sure. "But Lang's still breathing. He's a shadow we can't shake." Mary Ellen poured coffee, her hand firm, her voice edged with steel. "Tempest didn't break us. Your aim's a wall, John. We'll hold." Jake grinned, his fists unclenching, mud still caked on his boots. "We broke him, Ethan, too. He's steel now." Sarah nodded from the corner, her phone glowing with Hargrove's last update, her voice resolute. "Sheriff's hunting. Lang's trail's hot. We'll find him." Matt tapped his laptop, fingers pausing as he met John's gaze, his tone sharp. "Mercenaries were pros. Lang's deep in Dallas cash. I'll trace it. Won't stop till we know." Tom stood by the door, lantern dimming, his broad frame a silent pillar, his voice low but firm. "I'll watch the ridge. Plains are clear, but eyes ain't." John met Ethan's gaze across the table, the boy's eyes steady despite the weight of the day, his hand still trembling faintly from the fight, and John's voice cut through the room like steel tempered in fire. "You held today. Fought like a Parker. That's good. Keep it up, Ethan. The storm's just the start. We've got more coming." Ethan swallowed hard, nodding slow, his voice quiet but raw. "I will. Dad, swear it. No more running." The room fell silent, the lake glowing silver outside as the night deepened, the plains stretching wide and unbroken, wildflowers battered but enduring, their roots deep in the Texas soil. John rose, rifle close, stepping onto the porch where the air smelled of rain and renewal, his eyes scanning the ridge where the fight had raged. The memory of Lang's escape a bitter taste on his tongue. Across the horizon, a light blinked, binoculars catching the starlight, then vanishing into the trees. A shadow still breathing in the darkness. He chambered around, the click loud in the quiet, his jaw set hard, ready for the storm's next strike. knowing the fight for the ranch and his family was far from over.